Yo, it's no secret that the United States is a major player on the global stage. But let's face it, no country's perfect. Sometimes Uncle Sam rubs a few people the wrong way. In fact, lately, a bunch of countries that used to be tight with the US are starting to question their relationship. So today, let's dive into the top 7 countries that are, well, low-key turning against the good old US of A. Number 7. Turkey, the country that's kind of like that friend you thought you could count on. Until one day, they just stop answering your calls. It's like one of those awkward breakups where no one really wants to admit that it's over. So, let's rewind a little. Back in the Cold War, Turkey and the US were basically BFFs, strategic allies in the region, military bases, you name it. But now, things are getting a bit uncomfortable. First up, Turkey decided to buy Russian weapons, and not just any weapons. We're talking about the S-400 missile defense system. Now, the US was not happy about that, to put it mildly. Imagine telling your best friend, "Hey, I'm hanging out with this new crowd," and the crowd is Russia. Not cool, right? Then there's the whole Syria situation. The US and Turkey had major differences over how to handle the Kurds. And let's just say, Turkey wasn't thrilled with America's involvement there. It's like when your friend makes decisions you don't agree with, and instead of saying anything, you just start getting quieter and quieter. Awkward. Oh, and don't forget how the US pulled back its support for Turkey's military ambitions, like in some key NATO decisions. It's like being the friend who keeps asking for help, but when it's time to get serious, everyone backs off. So yeah, Turkey's been shifting towards a more independent foreign policy and the old friendship. With America? Well, it's kind of like watching a relationship slowly fade away. And honestly, it's a little sad, but also kinda expected. Number 6. Brazil. Remember when Brazil was all about those sweet trade deals with the US? Yeah, that was then. Nowadays, Brazil's been spending more time flirting with China and Russia, and a lot less with Uncle Sam. It's like when you're dating someone and you start noticing someone else. But in this case, Brazil's openly criticizing US foreign policies. Ouch, right? And it doesn't stop there. Brazil has straight up refused to follow American sanctions on Russia, basically saying, thanks, but no thanks to US pressure. Add to that the whole Amazon fires debacle. The US pointed fingers, but Brazil felt like it was being told how to run its own house. Not cool. The truth is, Brazil's getting tired of feeling like a puppet in a bigger game. Sovereignty matters, and they want to make their own calls. So yeah, it's official. Brazil's moving on. It's not you, Uncle Sam. It's us. We've changed. 5. Number South Korea. You might be thinking, wait, South Korea? They're like super close with the US, right? Well, yeah, they used to be. But lately, the relationship's starting to show some cracks. Here's the thing. As South Korea's economic ties with China continue to grow, and they have to figure out how to deal with the rising tensions from North Korea, they're starting to feel a little bit frustrated with the US. It's like having that friend who's always there, giving you unsolicited advice, even though you've got things under control. South Korea's been feeling that pressure, especially when it comes to military alliances and trade policies. The US has its expectations, and sometimes South Korea's not having it. But here's the kicker. China's knocking on South Korea's door, offering better deals, lower tariffs, and more economic cooperation. So, South Korea's got a pretty sweet option for a fresh start. And let's be honest, when you've got someone new offering you a much better deal, the love for Uncle Sam starts to fade just a little bit. So, yeah, South Korea's still working with the US, but you can tell they're slowly leaning towards China's side. It's not that they're breaking up, but the spark is starting to die out. We've all been there, right? Number 4. India. Let's talk about India for a second. Yeah, they're still working with the US on a bunch of fronts. Trade, defense, you name it. But don't let that fool you. Their relationship with America is getting more complicated by the day. First off, there's the whole "we like Russia" thing. Even though the US has slapped sanctions on Russia, India's like, yeah, we'll just keep buying weapons from them. I mean, they're not exactly going with the flow here. It's like that friend who goes against the group even though everyone else is on the same page. Kinda bold, right? Then, there's the Afghanistan situation. The US just up and left Afghanistan. 1 minute, they're there, then, boom, no one's home. India's over there scratching its head, wondering, wait, you just left? After all those years of strategic partnership, India was left holding the bag, watching everything unravel. Ghosted by your best friend? Yeah, it's pretty much like that. India's also realizing that it's got its own set of priorities now, and they're not always in line with what the US wants. Whether it's military deals, alliances, or just global strategy, India is making it clear it's no longer playing the sidekick role. So, don't take it personally, Uncle Sam. It's just that things are changing, and sometimes friendships need a little space. India's got its own path to follow, and that path doesn't always go through Washington. Number 3. Egypt. Another country that used to be solidly in America's corner, like the friend who's always there for you. Until one day, they start acting a little distant. Lately, Egypt's been making some moves that make you wonder, are they still that into the US? It all started when the US began criticizing Egypt's human rights record. That's when the cracks started showing. Imagine you've been friends for years, and suddenly, your buddy starts pointing out everything you're doing wrong. Not exactly a fun vibe, right? Egypt wasn't thrilled with America's opinion on how they handled their internal affairs. And, well, that created some distance. Then, there's Egypt's growing relationship with Russia, especially in the military and energy sectors, and that raised some serious eyebrows in Washington. Russia's been making major inroads in Egypt, selling them arms, and even working on energy projects. It's like watching your friend start hanging out with the cool new kid while you're left standing there, wondering what happened. Let's face it, the US can't always be the global police. Egypt's realizing it doesn't have to depend on America for everything. They're charting their own course, making their own alliances. So, sorry, Uncle Sam, but Egypt's got a new BFF in the region, and it's not you. Time to start looking for another friend in the Middle East, because Egypt is moving on. So friends, number 1 and 2 are these. Guess the country in the comments. If your answer is wrong, I'll make a Deepali video on it. If you give a good response to this video, I'll also cover these 2 topics. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates.